Hello and welcome to another week-long foundation review. It's been a while since I've done one of these. We'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. This is my face sans any makeup, in case you haven't ever seen it before. It is relatively clear. I do feel like I usually have a little bit of just texture and redness going on right here, and then I always feel really self-conscious about how much redness I have across my nose. My pores are a little on the big side. My skin is, pretty normal on the outside of my face, but pretty oily through the T-zone, which I think is not unusual. Also, my remote for my camera has died, so if the focus is not perfect, I'm very sorry. So this week I'm going to be reviewing the L'Oreal Pro Glow, which I have heard so much hype about on the entire internet recently that I felt like I just needed to try it. It says that it's radiant, but most reviews say that it's a little more on the natural side. Not matte, but not really truly radiant. It says it wears up to 24 hours, so we'll see how long the wear is. Medium coverage and an air-light texture. And I haven't put this on my face yet, so I guess today will actually be a first impression, and the rest of the video will be the review, but I did put it on my hand last night, and it was the most amazing hand swatch I think I've ever had. It was like immediately just gone. The texture was invisible and I couldn't even see the color difference. So hopefully it looks that good on my face. This is in the shade 202. Packaging wise, I mean, you guys have all seen reviews of this, but packaging wise it's nice. It's a good thick plastic, but I wouldn't have to worry about it like breaking anywhere. And it does have a squeezy tube, which means you have a lot of control. It is a pretty runny texture. I can feel it moving on my hand when I do that. That is what the shade 202 looks like. And I'm just going to put this on with my Sephora Collection featherweight brush. I'm not going to wear any primer or powder or setting sprays today. My first day with a foundation on my week-long reviews. I like to just see how it wears on its own. There it is, all over my face. No primer, no powder, no anything yet. You can see it does have a sheeniness to it, definitely, but also keep in mind that these lights always make it look sheenier than it actually is. Texture-wise, it's really pretty. It's not settling into any pores or clinging to any fine hairs or anything. It looks really beautiful, very, very natural in terms of texture. It is probably about a shade too dark for me, but it's the right undertones. And if you go up to the lighter shade, the undertone's way pinker, so not really sure what the right answer is there. But today, it just means I'm gonna blend this way down my neck. So here is my finished makeup. It was super simple, just brows, L'Oreal Amber Rush on the eyes, and then my Bite Beauty lip pencil that I've been wearing all the time. What is it, Pesh or whatever? Peach. It's like peach, but not spelled the same. Anyway, very, very simple. I got up and looked at this in natural light, and I really like it. My first impression, very, very first impression, is that it lays very well on the skin. It's a really nice texture that seemed to meld well. It doesn't look too cakey or porous or anything weird. Maybe just a little bit right here where sort of there are hairs, but then the face changes direction, so just a little bit, but not really enough that I would notice. It is shiny, but not shiny. It's just sheeny. It's like the right amount of glow, and I know it's called Pro Glow, but it is glowy, not shiny. It's really probably exactly the right amount of shine for what I would want out of my foundation. The question is, does it stay this way, or does it get shinier? We'll see. It says 24-hour wear. That would make me think it can last at least 6 hours without getting gross, right? And it is currently 2:05, so I put it on about 2 o'clock. I'm teaching until 6:30, so I'll be back probably somewhere in the 7:30 to 8 range, and we'll see what about 6 hours of wear looks like. Here it is freshly applied in natural light, so you can see what it looks like in natural light as well. You can see the color match a little better here too, I think, hopefully. Can we get a close-up? Can we get a close-up on my iPhone camera? I don't know how good this camera is, but that's what it looks like right now. So I wanted one more daylight check-in so you could see the difference. It is currently 6:30, so I've only had it on for, 4.5 hours or something. But I have to say, without my sweater on, I feel like it's a decent color match, right? Like my shoulders, I'll turn around this way too. If you compare it to my shoulders, I feel like it works okay, actually. I think maybe I'm just a little bit lighter right through here, but if you're trying to match it to my whole body, not so bad. And it is a little bit on the shiny side, but I'll get closer to the window. It's a little shiny across my nose right here, but I don't think it's disgusting. It feels like, I think if you just blotted it, it would be really easy to fix. I'll test that when I get home. But I wanted you to see what it looks like in some daylight. This video is pretty underexposed, but this way you can see how shiny it is. It is now, I didn't actually look at this before I turned it on for you. What time is it? 8:47. So I've had this on six and a half-ish hours. I think I finished up about 2, which means I had it on before that. So 7, almost 7 hours probably. Anyway, several hours, and you can see, I'll take my glasses off, it is pretty shiny, but, you know, I don't think it's any shinier than, like, Born This Way is when it's left completely to its own devices, and, like, all of this out here looks perfectly fine, so if you are a normal to dry skin type, I think it's going to look great on you, and even though it's shiny, I don't feel like it's lost much coverage. I feel like it's shiny but still looks like skin color, not red color, which ultimately is all I really care about. And it doesn't feel gross. It's probably going to be controllable. We will test that tomorrow. But for right now, I want to take a blotting paper and see. So I'm just going to blot one side. And yeah, oh yeah, that immediately looks like 1,000 times better, doesn't it? Like, this is just normal skin luminosity, because skin is naturally a little bit luminous, right? That's why the dewy skin finish thing is happening right now. So getting rid of it right here on this nasolabial fold, getting just a little bit of it off of the nose makes everything look a lot better. And again, I don't think that lost very much coverage. So I think that that is easily controllable if you just really don't want to wear powder. If you're at the end of a day and you just don't want it to be quite as shiny, I think that's pretty easy to just go boop and be done. So in case you ever doubted that I am in fact oily, now you know. So all I really had to do was blot it and it looks fine. I don't even think that I really feel the need to put powder on it. I mean, I could, right, if I really wanted to, but I look okay like that. I don't feel self-conscious about this at all, which is awesome. Anyway, this brings us to the end of day 1, which is just the straight up foundation test with no primer, no powder, no setting spray, no nada, just to see kind of what it naturally does on its own. We will be back tomorrow to do some experimentation. Welcome to day 2. Today I'm going to really try and put this to the longevity test. So I'm going to start with some Smashbox primer. This is the Photo Finish Oil Free. Shake this up, and today I'm going to be applying it with a beauty blender just to see how that works, see if it still retains enough coverage or not. And lightly bringing it down my neck again. And I'm going to set it today with the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Powder. Again, if I'm wearing a foundation like this, it's because I want my skin to look kind of illuminated and glowy. So I don't want to use a super matte setting powder with it today because that would kind of defeat the purpose, right? If I wanted a matte look, I just would wear a matte foundation. So this is probably the kind of thing that I would want to set it with. Texture-wise, that still looks really nice. It doesn't look like powdery across the little tiny baby hairs on my nose or anything. Okay, but from this angle it still looks a little too light, right? Like, it's... compared to my back, it's not way darker, so I don't... color matching is the worst. There's the rest of my makeup. I, again, kept it real simple. It's Saturday, it is currently 10:40, and it's supposed to be like 78 and sunny all day today. It looks beautiful outside, so I'm probably gonna like take her off for a walk, maybe sit on the porch and read, or play Pokemon or something. Not really anything exciting, so I didn't want to go over the top, but I did put on contour blush highlight, so we'll see how well those wear. And I'm going to put on some all-nighter spray as well. Might as well give it every chance that we have for it to last as long as it can. Why does this have 2 lids? Like, it has the purple lid, and then it has a little clear lid too. So there's my makeup. I finished it at about 10:30. I'll check in at least once more during the day. I'll try and get you a natural light look at it too. I feel like it looks super pretty. I don't want to say it looks natural. Like, I don't know if it is a true no makeup because, I mean, foundation, because I mean, I don't think anyone's skin looks this good in real life, but honestly, as far as no makeup foundations go, I think this one's really nice. It does leave a little bit of texture, but not too much, so I'm going to leave it on as long as I can today, so we'll get at least 10 hours of wear out of it, and we'll see what it looks like at the end of the day. Hey guys, it is a little after 2:30, so I've had this on about 4 hours today. I haven't done much. I did some dishes and I ate lunch, so my lipstick is gone, but other than that, I've just been kind of chilling. I'm currently sitting on the porch, and I think we are going to go for a walk soon, but as of right now, it still looks really good. You can still see my contour is still on, so that's good to know. It is not nearly as shiny as it was yesterday after 4 hours. Not even like 10%. It still feels exactly like it did earlier. I don't feel any oil, and it looks, I think, really good. Hopefully you think so too. I don't know, but I think it looks really nice, and I am very hopeful right now. It is 6:45 in the evening. I've been sitting on the porch for the last hour or so playing Pokemon and drinking a beverage, and someone's driving by. And we went on about a 2-mile walk earlier this afternoon as well when it was about 80 degrees out, so I did get a little bit sweaty. And it is just starting to get a little bit shiny. Can you see that on the forehead and across here through the T-zone? But coverage-wise, it still looks really good, I think. So big picture, it's great. And as we saw last night, this is a really easy one to just kind of take a blotting paper and go boop, boop, and then it's good to go again, which is awesome. And it has been 8 hours, and I did spend some time outside in heat, so all told, that's not bad at all. And I still don't think it's as shiny as it was yesterday after just, what was it, about 6 hours? So I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, so that's where we are. It's 6:45. I'll check in one more time. It is 10:03, so I have officially had this on for 11 and a half hours, depending on when I actually got it on my face. I will take off my glasses. It has definitely worn off where the pads of my glasses go, and that is sort of a concern because I do wear glasses probably like 98% of the time, but at the same time, it's really not that big a concern because when my glasses are on, you can't see that part anyway, right? So does it really matter? Something to consider, though, if that's a problem for you. It is definitely, at this point, very shiny again, but I don't think it's any shinier than it was yesterday at the end of my day, and I've had it on for twice as long today, which is awesome. So it definitely held up well. I sat outside for a couple hours. I went on a 2-mile walk in the heat. I took a nap. I did some dishes. So it's not like I just sat around and did nothing. It definitely had to go through its paces, and I personally am really pleased with this because as we saw last night, I could just take a blotting paper, do that if I really felt like I needed to, maybe put on just a little bit of powder and be good to go again. That being said, how often do I at 11 hours really need to make it another 4 hours, right? Like, that just doesn't happen in my life very often, even though I do work. My first job, I go to work at 7, and then I don't get home from my second job until probably 8, but I just don't wear makeup in the morning because I'm only there for like an hour or two, and then I can come home, and I usually take a nap, I go to the gym, and then I put on my makeup in the afternoon. So typically, I only need my makeup to last from like 2 to 8, which this at 6 hours still looked perfectly presentable. So in terms of day 2's longevity test, it says 24-hour wear. Is this going to make it 24 hours at this point? Probably not. But how often do you need it to be 24 hours? I think in terms of my needs and what I look for in a foundation, this passes the test with flying colors. Welcome to Sunday, day 3. It is already 12:25. I was going to put on makeup like 2 hours ago, and then I started a new file on Stardew Valley. Today I am going to a yoga class, and then my husband and I are going to go on another couple-mile walk. So we're just going to see if I can get this to stand up just a little bit better to a little bit of exercise, but not necessarily a long day. So right now I am putting on a little bit of eyeshadow primer on my nose where my glasses sit to see if that will help with that problem. Today I'm going to try a little bit of Professional. This is typically one of my more favored primers, not necessarily because it makes it last longer, but just because I feel like it makes things look good. This nail polish is from Misa, M-I-S-A, and it is called Office Polish Ticks. And I am once again applying with a beauty blender. I'm going to go for probably a little bit less coverage today. I'm not worried about making it look quite so flawless, but just kind of everyday running errands kind of look. I noticed this yesterday too. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but when I'm picking this up with my beauty blender, there's like little dots, and then when I go like that, they turn into little white streaks. It kind of looks like, do you remember, I think Almay had one, the BB creams that have color adjusting spheres that aren't actually color adjusting, they're just like pigment wrapped up in little white spheres. That's what these look like to me, and I wonder, can you see how much whiter that is? I just did this, and then it turned white, and then the more I do it, it like starts to blend in. So I wonder if this has like pigment spheres in it. That would be weird. I don't know why, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. Also, I have not been using concealer the last couple days. I've just been bringing this up under my eyes just a little bit, and it hasn't been creasing too badly. I've actually been kind of impressed by it. Today I am going to set with a mattifying powder. This is the Innisfree No Sebum Mineral Powder. I just think that it'll probably help it last a little bit longer through some exercising. It doesn't look bad. Even with the powder on, it's still not super makeup-y. It's sitting very nicely on my skin. I am going to spray it again with the all-nighter because I think that helped a lot. The only other thing that I have put on is just a little bit of Gimme Brow through the eyebrows, and that's kind of it. That's a really good no makeup for me. I mean, actually, on a day like this, I just wouldn't wear makeup, but for the purposes of what we're doing here, if you're the kind of person who always wants to wear something, let's see if we can make it look like a no makeup and that it'll stay that way. It is 12:31, so that just took me literally 5 minutes to do, no problems at all, and it takes longer talking to the camera, so I could probably do that in 3 or 4 minutes and get out the door. It is now 1:45, so I've had this on for just over 3 hours, which is not very long, but I did an hour of vinyasa yoga, and our gym does not have air conditioning, and then we went on another 2-mile walk, and it's 83, 84 today. So again, I got pretty sweaty, and I did put it through its paces, just not long term. Anyway, it does look better. It is still wearing off here, but not nearly as bad as it did yesterday, and it is. In this light, you can tell it has just a little bit of a sheen to it, like right here on my cheeks, right? You can see that in this light. But this light is the harshest light for that. I looked at it in natural light, and it looks really good. Like, if my skin just looked like this when I woke up, I would be the happiest person in the world. So, you can still see a little bit of, like, redness here on the edges, and, like, I have a little thing popping up right here. Like, things like that you can see. But that doesn't really bother me because I'm not looking for a perfectly flawless finish with this, right? I'm looking for something that I could just wear every day. And it does say medium coverage, right? It's not like it's supposed to be a high coverage, totally flawless finish. And I put on, like, a really thin layer with a beauty blender. So that's not unexpected. And I personally am super happy with this because this means, like, on a day when I want to go downtown and walk around for an hour, it's still going to look okay at the end of it. I am going to wash this off now because I really need to shower after all of that exercise, and tomorrow I will do one more day with you. Hey guys, it is almost 3 o'clock on day 4 of this review. Today I am going to work, so I am just going to do my face like I normally would, and we'll see how it looks at the end of my work day. I am not going to prime just because I am typically way too lazy to prime. And I would use my beauty blender, but again, I was too lazy to get up and wet it, so I'm just going to use the closest foundation brush I have. This is the Urban Decay Optical Blurring Brush. That's about as much coverage as I really want out of my life. I don't need it to be full coverage, as we have spoken about before. I am once again going to set it with this Innisfree powder, because it worked really well yesterday, and I think I'm okay with the trade-off of it being slightly less glowy, because it's still not disgustingly, it's still not super flawless matte. As you can see in this light, again, this light is the worst for glare, but I do have just a little bit of luminosity to my skin, so it doesn't look like a completely flat painting. I think it looks really beautiful. And it's also not the highest coverage you've ever seen, right? Like, you can still see a little bit of what's happening on my actual skin, but that just means it looks like real skin to me. I don't need it to be flawless just to go teach some kids for a few hours. I'm super happy with how that looks. I will check back in with you this evening so we can see how it wore through a normal day of teaching and give you kind of my final wrap-up thoughts. It is Monday night, just after 8 o'clock. I have just gotten home, And I have to say, this is definitely within usable limits to me. It is the most shiny kind of right around here, but that's pretty typical. Again, it is a little bit shiny, but not nearly as shiny as this light makes it out to be, as I have said before. And I didn't put on a primer. So if there's a day that I really need it to last more than 5 hours and look more flawless, I'll just add a primer, and that's not a huge, awful deal. So I'm perfectly willing to deal with that, and I have to say the coverage looks, you know, it's about the same as when I put it on, which is not incredibly high coverage, but I don't really want it to be. The color, while a little dark if I build it up, matches fine like this. Like, I think it looks perfectly acceptable. Once again, it has worn off pretty badly where my nose pads are, but again, I didn't prime that at all, and again, I usually have my glasses on, so you don't really see that unless I specifically take them off, so that's not really something that I concern myself with too much. So to sum up my thoughts on the L'Oreal Pro Glow, I have the shade 202. It is a tiny bit too dark for me if I build it up, but when it's sheared out, it looks really great, and it is, I think, a pretty true neutral. I saw a couple reviews that said it looked kind of gray on them, and it looks probably better on me than most, like 98% of the other foundations I have. So turns out I'm a neutral undertone. Who knew? The little checklist here on the back says it is a radiant finish. Definitely true. So if you don't like glowy finishes, this is not for you. It says it wears 24 hours. I question that a lot. Coverage, it says medium. I agree with that. You could build it up with a second layer. You can shear it out with a beauty blender, but medium is probably pretty average. And texture, air light, definitely. It feels like there's nothing on my face. I was on my way home this evening and I was like, oh, right, I'm wearing that foundation. Like, I just genuinely hadn't thought about it at all during the day, and it was awesome. It does have SPF 15, so I didn't check the flashback. I guess I could do that. That's not too bad at all. It looks pretty much like the same color as my neck, which is awesome. So the texture is beautiful. The price is pretty decent. I think I got mine for about $12 at a Walgreens. The shade range is okay. I think that there was some, when they first came out, a little bit of hubbub on the internet, but then I think they expanded their range pretty quickly. I've heard that it's beautiful if mixed with the Pro Matte. I don't own the Pro Matte, but maybe that's something I could get in the future. I'm really happy with it. I like the coverage. I am willing to deal with the longevity because it wears long enough. I really like the finish. I really like how it feels. I think this might be my new everyday foundation, which is crazy. But yeah, I really think it might be. Hopefully that answered all of your questions. If there's anything else that you are curious about, please don't hesitate to leave it in a comment or tweet me at LookLovelyLaura. So thanks for watching that. I know this is a long one, but I hope it was worth it, and I will see you again next week. Bye!